Gemini, this is a love tarot reading for Valentine's for you. I only do these readings once a year, so it's fair to assume that this is a long-term reading until my next one. But it's not time-bound. I look at this, I've just done the reading for Capricorn, and it was a balance of high and low vibrations. And I think that's exactly what this reading is. I'm not saying it's the same as Capricorn's, but I can see high and low vibrating elements in it. Now these are just energies that will impact on you. It's not fortune telling. But you would be wise to extenuate the positive bits. Because you have free will, and to try and nullify the more low vibrating elements of it. Overall, I'm struck by the central card, the Wheel of Fortune. This suggests to me that a big change is occurring in your life. Now, given that I've asked it to be about romance or love, it would suggest a change in your love life, or maybe your attitudes towards love. And I normally see this as a good thing, and I think this is what the high and low vibrations are. Have you learnt the lesson from the last cycle or not? Because normally it should bring with it luck. Now if we go down to the bottom right, we have the Four of Cups. Going inside yourself, looking for answers. Looking for answers maybe about romance. Maybe you feel unlucky in romance. And you go in the past you went inside yourself and said, why haven't I had luck? But in doing so, maybe you missed some potential for romance. Right now we have the Five of Pentacles. At least a feeling of poverty and maybe no friends. In the future, we have the Four of Pentacles. Wanting to save money, but maybe feeling a bit miserly. Perhaps no bad thing in these uncertain times, but I'd associate it with all of that, with bottom three, with somewhat low vibrations. The real card of hope is what leads to the outcome, and that is rebirth. And indeed hope, the energy of the star. Now, the other great hope in this is, and I think this is where the free will comes into it, what changes the outcome, and I think changes your trajectory, is a card of charity. And I'm sure this is you being charitable. Maybe with money, or maybe simply with your own spirit towards others. But the outcome is the Devil card, a card of unhealthy attachments. Is this an unhealthy attachment, given that we're talking about love, to somebody else? Or is it an unhealthy attachment to what you perceive to be love? And I think that's much more likely, because a lot of people, this has been the main message of their Valentine's Tarot. But do stay with me as we try and unpack this and understand it. Now, the energy that dominates the reading is that of the Wheel of Fortune. A card of change, a card of cycles ending and new ones beginning. And the one constant that almost all signs have at the moment, not necessarily in their love lives, but all signs have at the moment, is that of change. Last year we went through a major change as paradigm shifting, and they'll continue to shift throughout this year. Things might emerge a bit clearer in 2025, but we are going through unprecedented changes, so it's no surprise to see this. It normally brings with it a degree of luck. And what I think it's telling us, because this is an energy that runs throughout the all of it. And because I say it's a mixture of high and low vibrations, I think how we should interpret it is, have you learned from the previous cycle how to keep your vibrations high, or are you going to succumb to low vibrations? And your luck in romance will definitely be dependent on which of those you're doing. Now, in the past, it sees you thinking about things, going inside yourself, looking for answers. Given it's a reading about love, are you going inside yourself and looking for answers because you feel unlucky with love? I think that's very likely. But in doing so, you are turning away some opportunities for love. Maybe there's a lesson in this card in itself, that love comes at the most unlikely times. I mean, I should know. I met my current wife, who is the love of my life, at a time when I was very unhappy, but in a relationship. The last thing I was looking for love. The last thing I was looking for was love with somebody who lived on the other side of the world, that I'd have to relocate to, that I'd have to change my religion for. But it came, and it was heaven sent, that's for sure. But if you put too much thought into love, then rarely does it come to you. The current energy is a feeling of poverty. Well, normally it's associated with a feeling of poverty. I think many of us have lost money recently. And that's going to be another recurrent theme in this year. And it's sort of a perception of poverty, because what does poverty mean? It's a poverty mindset because of the universe, God, Allah, blessed us with plenty. So poverty is relative. It's just saying, well, I don't have as much money as Elon Musk. Well, none of us do. I don't have as much money as I used to. Well, again, none of us do. So it can be a poverty mindset, which can be self-fulfilling. But the other thing it can mean is no friends. I wonder if you're shutting yourself off from love. And that in itself will be self-fulfilling. I'm not sure. But it's things that are playing on your mind that I think are preventing your success in love. And maybe in tune with this feeling of poverty, in the future it sees you being careful with money. Now, given the uncertainty at the moment, that might be no bad thing, being careful with money. But being miserly is a low energy vibration because of feeling that you have no money will mean that you have no money. So a bit like the last card. So does that feeling, that poverty mentality, lead to this situation whereby you feel that you constantly have to save money? Even though this is the year when, at least on paper, what most of us would describe as money disappears. So, again, I see it as fairly low vibrational. Now, where I would say there is real hope is in this star energy. I mean, it is the card of hope, it's the card of rebirth, and it leads to the outcome. But I don't think the outcome's a good outcome. So what does this mean? Is it hoping for love? And that in itself is not healthy. It's as though you haven't learnt the lessons of the last cycle. Do you know, as I was talking about the last energy, the sort of miserly energy, I wondered if the spread is trying to talk to me about love through wealth, because often it's the same sort of energy. And I wonder if you're seeing, you've got this interplay with thinking you will never find love and resolve to be being by yourself, and yet secretly hoping that love will come around. Do you know, I think that might be it. Paradoxically, where I see great hope is the card that changes your trajectory, and that's the card of charity. Now, like the poverty and the miser card, do we see this as physically talking about wealth or money, or do we see it as being about charitable in your thoughts towards other people? And maybe it doesn't matter, but if you can open your heart up more, and going back to the past, where I said you were thinking things through, but missing opportunities, maybe there's an echo of that here. Because if you can open your heart up to opportunities, see things in a better light, then they will be better. Yeah, I think this is the lesson for you. Seeing things differently. And now we have the energy of the devil. So it could be an energy of addictions. You could be addicted to something, which would certainly explain the feeling of poverty and also then being miserly with money, because it costs a lot of money to be addicted. But if we don't see these cards about being about money, nor indeed the charity card, but see them about being about love, then this is a sort of a constraint you have in your mind. A constraint that you'll never find love. That anybody who wants you only wants you for your money, for your body, for whatever it might be you've got in your head that's wrong with potential suitors. Because you're closing yourself off to love, There was every red flag going when I met my wife, but my heart said no, and we could not be happier. So I think you have to be open to the unexpected, and the unexpected will come knocking at your door. Gemini, I asked for this to be a love reading, and we've got many things about money, but money or wealth, let's put it that way. Wealth and love are often very similar energies. So we could interpret them about money. If they are about money, you're feeling poor, and you will be feeling the pinch after the end of this reading. It might be because you're physically addicted to something. But I think much more likely it's talking about your attitudes towards love and others. And it's those that are preventing you from finding love. And the overall theme is that of change. And it's really saying that if you can change your attitudes towards love, then you will find it. Have you learnt the lessons from the past? And the suggestion is quite strongly not, but there is great hope that you're able to. And you will have the luck that you need if only you can make that shift. I think you feel you've been unlucky in love, and in the past you sort of tried to understand that. But you didn't realise that while you were sort of locking yourself away, trying to explain it, there were opportunities for love right, well, behind your back, let's put it that way. The opportunities were there and you were missing them. Because I think you've said to yourself, I'll never find love. Just get on with my life without it. But in doing so, when opportunities do come, you say to yourself, oh, they only want me for my money, my body, whatever it might be, you know. And yeah, you're feeling a paucity of love, a paucity of romance. And that will be self-fulfilling. Now, there are high and low vibration energies here. And one of the high ones is here a hope that you will find love. Maybe it's even a subconscious hope. But it does exist, which I normally see as positive. But, you know, I think it's no good hoping that you'll find love, but having already determined in your own mind that you won't, and that whatever love you find will be something wrong with it. And that is what I think is the nature of this addiction. It's the barriers you're placing in your own mind to love, instead of just going with the flow. And I think what you need, the way to get out of this mindset, I mean, it is to raise your vibrations, but the way to get out of these mindsets is to be much more charitable in your thoughts to others. And why do you think that everybody only wants you for your money, for your body, what have you, you know? Why do you see all people as evil, as it were? You know, yeah, you've got some experience of it, but you know, if you can in your mind see everybody as basically good, then you will find that people are basically good. And this is the change that the universe wants to see in you.